Well, it's a couple minutes after 10. I think we'll get started. Thank you very much for coming today. We'll start briefly with some introductions and then get right to it. I'm Randy Shoemaker, CEO of Southeast Vermont Transit.
Christine Howe, General Manager of Southeast Vermont Transit.
Sarah Campbell, Dispatch Manager, Vermont Transit.
If you could just give us your name, title, and company. I'll start with you, Jill.
Good morning. I'm Jill Pryor. I work with Marble Valley Regional Transit, and I am currently training in the scheduler position.
Adams.
Hi, I'm Adam Skirl. I'm the executive director here at Advanced Transit, and we're really excited to see this tool. And I'm here with Josh.
Right. I'm the paratransit manager and IT manager for Advanced Transit.
And a minute from now, as soon as they finish getting ready, we're going to have our dispatcher, one of our dispatchers join us, as well as one of our paratransit drivers.
Great.
And I think there's one more AT person probably on the call.
Okay.
I'll hit it up.
We're not charging by the head, so I think you're okay. Morgan.
Morgan Prouty, I work for SSTA. I'm the operations director.
Adam.
Adam Lawrence, Special Services Transportation Agency, Executive Director.
Yvonne.
Yvonne Whedon, I work for Marble Valley Transit. I'm the finance manager.
Great. Dolores.
I'm Dolores Getcha. I'm the dispatch brokerage supervisor at Marble Valley.
Tim.
Tim Bradshaw from VTrans.
Terrence.
Terrence White, Executive Director, Green Mountain Community Network. Good morning.
Good morning. Trish.
Hi, I'm Trish Palau. I'm the Director of Marketing and Philanthropy with Advanced Transit. I'm the other AT person on the call.
Cool. Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Stearns, the Program Manager at Tri-Valley Transit.
Great. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Randy. Bill Cunningham, Tri-Valley Transit Regional Director, Addison Region.
Clayton.
Hi, everybody. I'm Clayton Clark, the General Manager at Green Mountain Transit.
Great. Mike.
Mike Reederer, Community Relations Manager, Orange Northern Windsor Region, Tri-Valley Transit.
Ross. Dan.
Ross McDonald, Dan Courier, VTrans. Good morning.
Morning. Mary Claire.
Good morning, Mary Claire Crokin, Community Relations Manager for Tri-Valley Transit's Addison Region.
Jim.
Jim Moulton, Executive Director of Tri-Valley Transit.
Erica.
Hi there, good morning. I'm Erica Harmon. I am the Medicaid Program Manager at the Vermont Public Transportation Association.
Great. I'm not sure about your first name. Seymour?
Oh, Melissa Seymour. I'm
Melissa,
the call center manager at RCT.
Right, sorry, I didn't get that. Thank you. Jade?
Hi, I'm Jade McClellan, Regional Director for Orange and Northern Windsor Tri-Valley Transit.
Great. Caleb?
Hi, everybody. Caleb Grant, Rural Community Transportation.
Great. Did we miss one, I think?
Yep.
Suter?
Yep. I'm having a hard time with my screen here. Steve Suter, Operations Manager, Addison Region, Tri-Valley Transit.
Great. Great. Well, thank you, everybody, and thanks for coming. Just a couple of quick comments. We've only been using this HBSS software for microtransit. We started training in mid-December and we went live on January 23rd. So we're probably 5 weeks now into the use of it. We've been told that the system that we're using now is very close to the final system that we're all going to be using soon when we roll out this program. We're told that there are configuration changes between what you'll see this morning and what we'll end up with in terms of, for instance, the program we're using now has no 2-day advance notice. People can book on the fly. That will be a configuration change when we all do it to have a 48-hour notice. We're taping this, as you know. I'll put it on our website. I'll send you the link in case you want to share this with anybody. Our agenda I sent out late, but we'll have it up for you. And we're asking that Sarah and Christine finish the sections on the agenda before they have entertain questions on that section. So if you could just hold until the end of that section, that would be great. And we'll have Q&A at the end for anything that we missed. I think that that's about it for that. Again, we're just showing you what little bit we know of the system. We'll walk you through it from the beginning. And HBSS, I'm sure, will have a different spin on it when we're all trained and when they roll it out. And Tim, if I understand it correctly, they're going to do a demo anyways in the next week or two.
Correct, yeah. Carol Swiger's sending me the agenda and I'm gonna get a doodle poll out to everyone, hopefully today. She said she'd get me that today, and then we'll have a statewide kickoff call. They're not gonna be talking, in detail about microtransit. That's a contract amendment if and when we get to that point. I sent out a previous email to everyone, that's got the RFPs on the street that they should be completing their RFPs. We're not looking to sole source at this point, and that was a recommendation from HBSS as well. Those that have RFPs on the street, complete the process, complete your contract selection committee process, and then we'll go from there. They did indicate a willingness, and I'll let Jim chime in, but they did indicate a willingness of a contract amendment if everyone chooses to go in that direction of using the same platform for microtransit as well as the scheduling and dispatch software.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Sarah, you can take it away and please walk us through it.
Can everybody see everything okay?
Did we share the screen?
We can see you, but not anything on your screen.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
Right there.
yep.
How about now?
Can you see everything? Can you see the screen now? Yeah.
Now we can.
Okay.
Sarah, can I have the mouse back just for a second?
Put you guys closer. Usually if you drag it.
Thank you.
All right. So, all right, let's back out a little bit just so that we can. So when you come into ride logs, you would have to log in like this. And then you get this 2FA code verification. Your administrators have to have this, your users do not. And then you would come into your vertical pads, and at the top here are all of your different vertical pads for like a quick shortcut. This is where you would add new clients, and like it will tell you what you're doing at the top of every vertical pad. Oh, yeah, and then they just scroll, like keep going. Everything that's in this list up here is a vertical pad down here. What you're doing. So,
Copy the agenda.
She's got it.
yeah. So we'll start with adding users. The admin will have the options to add users. You would come into here. And user management. And then this is where you would add a new user. You would add what their user ID will be, their name, the email that the stuff will get sent to for like login information, and then roles. This means that they're active. And if you don't want them to be active anymore, you just suspend them. So like add user. Public users are your regular dispatchers taking the phone calls. The call takers. You will have schedulers, and then people that you restrict access to that don't need to be like taking schedules from clients. But this is where you would put all your information in. Again, admin need to have this part enabled, which you need a phone number to go to. If you want to have just normal users not have this part, don't put in a phone number or it will make you reset your password every time. You can also change your scheduling parameters here, and you have video trainings that you can go through. Everybody will have those. Back to home. Any questions on that part?
I have a question.
Okay.
Can this screen be made vertical, or is it a horizontal database, like how route matches vertical all the tasks are on the far left?
It is fixed like this. It doesn't change.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, let's show
I have
you.
a question too, sorry. In your role templates, when in the previous screen you were just on, did you get to choose what the restrictions were and like what those were for each section that you had in there? Like you had a call taker and
in here?
Yeah, did you pick those and like get to say what the call takers could see and couldn't see in each one of those?
Kind of, they ask you some questions about what the roles are gonna be. And then they build you what they think you need, and then you can add or move it.
So they build the background.
Yeah. You can't edit it, but they can.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So this is how you add a new vehicle. You would click on the vehicle management tab. And then it says vehicle management, and you can hit new add vehicle. And then you can put whatever you identify your buses as or your cars, how many seats it has, how many wheelchairs, if it's flex seating, all of that. You can put in just about everything you put in to log what's going on with your buses. You don't have to fill out all of this, just this part is important to make a vehicle setup. Do you want me to go? Vehicle?
Was asked.
Do you guys want to see a vehicle being made? And then drivers, this is your driver management tab, which is this vertical pad right here. Again, you would just hit new, and then I'll show you one that's already filled out. So like on this one, I put myself in, you put your first name, date of birth. You don't have to fill out this part. What days they're available to drive. Can they perform wheelchairs? All that stuff. This is where you would put your driver credentials in like you do now with route match. So their ID and then their password. And then if you want to like put them in groups, you can put what job positions they have. You can also upload documents to their files, like their med cards and stuff. they call routes segments here. And that's this, right? So these are your segments. Segments are routes. So like right now we have the micro move going. So these are my segments. So I have a different segment for every driver that drives the micro move. So depending on what day, their segment is S062 for like Mike, and mine is S099 for myself. You just make new segments by hitting new. You set up what day you want the segment to go. You can put in this segment ID. You do have to start segments with S and vehicle numbers with V. Otherwise it gets messed up. What time the segment starts and what time the segment ends, and where your garage is located or where they're coming out of. Then you can go in and select your vehicle and the driver that belongs to that segment. And then you can also change the color, which is helpful when you go to the live map to see where that segment or bus is. And then you just hit apply, download to make that a live segment. Any questions on segments?
Sarah, can you make, for a fixed route, can you make a segment that goes for months at a time?
Yeah, once you make a segment until you, a confirmed segment, until you cancel it, it's there forever.
Why would you make segments for every day?
Because that's how you schedule. You have to schedule to a segment.
Okay.
But one segment, like S062, can be available on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Right.
Yep, because that's when that driver is available.
I'm anticipating what others might.
Yeah.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions on segments? You want to do clients? All right, so these are your clients. The weird thing about this is in this, you don't see all your clients. You can only see one client at a time. Sorry. So you would have to put in a name to find it. So then these are all the clients that last name is Tess. You can hit new. You would put in all their information like you normally do. But when you do addresses, it's really important to make a decision as a company if you're going to do longhand addresses like writing out street and all that stuff, or shorthanded address, because if you all do it differently, you're going to geocode the same address multiple times, even just like a little bit differently. Does that make sense to everybody? Yep, that's trying to think of an address that's not already geocoded. So see, this address hasn't been geocoded, so it's going to make you stop and create a new address. And you put your address over here. And it will pull up, pull up on Google Maps where it is. It's very important that you move this red dot to make a proper geocode. So you would just, let's, yeah, it doesn't want to do it right now. There we go. So once it's there, you would upload it from the map. This is only if it's like a store or a hospital. Then you would put in the street number. I don't remember what I put. Oh, it's not. Apartment 1, sure. And then you would hit geocode. Oops, add this to book. And save. And now you have a new address. And then if you find out that that's the wrong point, because this is going to take the tablet right to that point that you set. So that's why it's important that you move the point to where the actual address is. If your driver shows up and that's not where the point should be set, you can go back and edit it and move the point. No, that's not close me out of the whole thing. It's just slow. It is very slow. You can add alternative addresses, email addresses, if they live in an apartment complex, where to pick them up. So if they have like a side door, you can put side door in there. These are your eligibilities, and these are your suspensions. You have to select the start date. And then you have to do an end date. So we do ridiculous dates because we don't want to cancel them. And you have to make sure you save. Then you'll have your mobility types, which we still need to add stuff to this. And this is if there's going to be somebody going with them, you can edit that point. Date of birth. We don't do social security numbers. They have a spot for Medicaid ID numbers, all kinds of things. Emergency contacts, which is really nice in case something happens. And then client notes and driver's notes. Client notes are only what your schedulers and your call takers, dispatchers can see. Driver notes are what shows on the tablet. So they're two different things. And you can set reminders for drivers to look at the notes. And then at the top of the screen, if you've completed it correctly, it will show in green that you have saved, and that is your new client number for this person. Any questions?
I have one.
Sure.
When you're doing the geocoding, has it been pretty accurate? I know you have to drag the little red thing over to a domicile, but what if you don't know which one it is? Have you been sending buses to the right places, or has that been confusing?
So far, we are lucky that Windsor is the Google Maps is correct. I'm interested in seeing what it does for Springfield, because that's a mess right now for us. But when you're doing it on the phone with a person, you could pull up the street view and say, is your house whatever color the house pulls up as? I'm going to try. Hold on 1 second. Let's go back in. So see how I just clicked on my name and my name came over. So these are all my screens for this client, myself. So so you can take the little guy and drop him, and it will show you. So I would assume that's probably the house. I could be wrong, but I could ask the client if that's their house. Does that help?
I have a question.
Yep.
For all the information that's currently stored in Route Match, will it be brought over into this system, or we wouldn't have to manually input everything? Because I'm concerned about the street ST dot. I don't know. I don't believe everything is either written out or in shorthand. So how would that work if it is something that's going to be dropped and dragged from the existing system and populated within this system for our current client?
That's a Tim or Jim question. Jim?
The question again?
The existing Route Match client list, will it be transported into this system? And if
Correct.
so,
Correct.
throughout that, you were talking about Drive and VR. So if we don't have everything set up written out for the other way, will it leave people out?
There'll be a data migration, correct, from the existing system.
It will just let you continue.
Yes.
I think to answer your question, there's still going to be some list scrubbing that's going to be done per Sarah's comment that it's got to be exact. So I'm sure most of it's going to come over, but I think you're going to have to review it and scrub it.
Yeah.
There'll definitely be some work on your end. We're working out those final details with Route Match and HBSS. Just so everyone's aware, we have the first status call with TBT and HBSS next week. I know I've already reached out to all of you about, your interest in where you would like to fall in the implementation process, and we're building that final implementation schedule. Some of you would have expressed an interest in on the front end, and some towards the middle, and some towards the end. So we're working out all those details as well.
Thanks. But yeah, if you don't have them all written one way or the other, all that's going to happen is you're going to have to keep adding, like geocoding the same address over and over again. That's the only thing that would happen. And that's kind of obnoxious, but not that big of a deal if you're okay with it. So now that you have a client, you can add new trips. So these are like the one-off trips that they have like one doctor's appointment. And this is where you would make repeat trips. So if they have a trip every day that they take, you'd make them over here. So they're two different screens. So you can make a new trip. You put whatever service they need. It auto fills in stuff. This is where you put a date. Oops, not tomorrow, let's do today. So you can use it. You can show if it's a one-way. You can do pickup times, appointment times, return times here. It is a different format for times though. Oops. Yeah, not typing in. No, it's because what time it is. Hold on. You have to make sure you have the A or the P for AM and PM. And you can put in who called, which is helpful when you're dealing with medical facilities and stuff, so you know who set up the trip. There's the client's address. This is like a random address that they can go to that's already put in. Again, if you're bringing somebody to a pickup location, you can also put in what entrance to go to. If you know the phone number that they're going to, like a hospital or something, it'll tell you how many miles, how long it will take. You can also change mobility types in this screen and escorts in this screen. If you need a different vehicle, you can do the different options, like a normal would be a regular bus, a car, No, I got that one, but okay. And then here you could, if you know what segment you're gonna assign it to, you can put the segment in now, or you can wait until we get to scheduling and put it in then. If they need to pay a fare, you can put that in, trip purpose. Again, client notes that your staff can see, drivers note that the drivers see. Now this is asking if I want to make a return trip. Hit yes. And then it flips, just like in Route Match, it flips the trip around and just auto populates everything. And then you can hit save again. Do you want to add another trip? And it's going to continue to add this until you say no. So you could do like a 3 or 4-legged trip, depending on what your client needs are. And then this is the trip confirmation number here at the top, has been saved, closed, and then it auto populates into the trip that you just made. Any questions on that?
I have one. So you said you have to schedule it on the vehicle. It won't automatically pick the best available vehicle for you.
It can when you get into the scheduling. This is just making a trip right now, but if you know what bus you're going to put it on later, you can already put it in. But it's easier to do it in scheduling. Do you guys want to see how to do a repeat trip?
I have a question on that scheduling a trip screen that you were just in.
Mm-hmm.
When you had clicked on it, you had put in where it said like pickup time and it said return time.
Mm-hmm.
If I saw correctly.
Yep. So pickup, return, or
you
appointment.
had, there's pickup, return, and appointment time. So that's still only one leg of a trip, even though you're putting in the return time right there.
Yeah, because if you're gonna do the return anyway, unless you hit one way, it'll just help the computer when it flips the trip to do the return. It's one less thing that you have to add on the second screen or third screen, depending on how many legs you have. Does that answer your question?
Kind of. Yes, thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like the drop-off entrance information, the pickup entrance. Do those automatically populate into the tablet?
Yes.
Okay. And if you do the trips, so you said, like Morgan's last question, you said that you have to do the legs of the one way and then the return trip, no matter what, even though you put that all in on one screen?
Yes, unless you hit this one-way button.
Okay. Okay. I'm just thinking, so then somewhere along the lines, this does some sort of manifest. So if we needed it to go on the different buses, that's where you'd be able to do that in the legs. You wouldn't, that's why you'd maybe put it as one way?
Yeah, you could. When we get to scheduling, it'll make more sense.
Okay.
Any other questions on trips? So repeat trips are basically the same thing. This one just, gives you a start date and an end date, and then you can click the days, or you can click all. You can also do every other week, which is really great. I know in Route Match, we can't do that right now. And then you can also do exclusions for holidays. But everything else is the same. And then you would see all the new trips down here displayed.
Sarah, if I could, I just want to mention that you can see under mobility types, can you just click on the arrow under Walker? For those mobility types, these are all configurations that we did for this particular micro transit service.
Mm-hmm.
So if your experience and implementation is anything like ours, you'll set all those parameters. They'll show you the options and you'll set this all up the way you want it. What we're showing today is the basic mechanics of it. But when you see different things of like the mobility types, we went through and took out a bunch, we added some, and you'll all do the same thing when your time comes.
And you can add multiples. So this was what your driver would see when they look on their tablet.
So don't think that what you're seeing today is what the system is limited to. Those configurations are all going to be up to you.
Do you know if you can add them after the fact? Like if something comes up that we didn't think of, can you add them in later?
We did.
Yeah.
And again, I think that goes back to the contract, and maybe it's a Tim and Jim question, but the process we went through is we configured for probably 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And then we tested it, and then we went through with more changes, and we have a couple of final things to sign off on, and then we will sign off on the contract. So the answer is yes. At some point, they'll come to us and say, well, that's not a standard feature, that would have to be added on either for extra time or an extra cost. But again, remains to be seen in the bigger scope of things for this statewide rollout.
How much control did you have in these things when it came to adding them? Did they have to do all of that for you? Like you provided them a list, or do you have a settings section in here where you're able to add and change those things yourself?
We ended up having, most of those you have to do through them.
Yeah. So like the mobilities you have to do through them. The holidays you do yourself. There's a screen for that I can show you.
But most of them are done through HBSS.
Right.
That's part of the 4 to 6 weeks period, Morgan, that I was talking about, that, we met every week, and we said, here's what we want to do. And then next week we did another set, and we tinkered and changed as we went through. So at the end of 6 weeks, we had what we wanted. So it was an ongoing build process of configurations.
And they did have a spreadsheet that they sent us in the beginning that had a list already there.
It's a huge.
It was a huge list, and then we whittled it down or changed wording, so that it's, you're not starting from complete scratch. So that's helpful too.
And that was a configuration list, Christine, basically?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was pretty well organized, pretty fluid.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And they gave us what we asked for.
Yeah.
We didn't have to keep asking over and over again. And
nope.
Yeah.
And just so the group is aware, and we really appreciate SCBT presenting their experience to date. The contract selection committee, which was extensive in the RFP process, was also given a demonstration of the HBSS scheduling and dispatch software. They also have the ability for you to request a demo if you wanted to see an individual demo. It's on their website. I don't know if they would prefer that to be part of the implementation process, or if they are okay with you folks requesting demos in advance of your implementation. I did just send an email to them asking to clarify on that front.
They will also provide in advance, at least they did with us, their whole training library. And every function that you're looking at, every function that's in the system has a 1 to 3 minute training video.
I can show you that real quick.
And it's really, really helpful. We spent a lot of time going through those.
Yeah.
And it was just a great resource to fall back on. And it really minimized our training time with them, because we had a chance to practice based on what was in the library.
Yeah. So when you have, this is the library he's talking about right here.
Yeah.
The training videos. Why won't, there we go. Oh.
And those training videos are only available within the software platform, Sarah, or are they available outside of it as well?
They sent it to us prior.
Okay.
To the training.
Got it.
Oops, that's on it. So these are how you figure out this is like a quick overview, and then this is how you would go in and find like longer videos on things. And then these are all, they break them up and they're only like 5 minutes max. But there's a lot. These are long. These are like an hour. But there's a video for everything. I wanted to take a minute to show you guys something that's a little different. The red ones are what they refer to as downloaded trips. So these are the trips you'll be able to see in scheduling. Green trips haven't been downloaded yet, so you won't see them in scheduling until you pull them down, which is, yeah. No matter where I move them. So these trips haven't been downloaded because they have an arrow. So I will never see them in scheduling until they download. And things only download 3 days at a time. So you can't do a week's worth of scheduling unless you download the whole week. And you have to download every individual day. I don't know if we have schedulers in here, but that would make sense too. I know it's in the way. All right. Segments.
Do you want to show placeholder?
And I did. That's all I wanted to show. Points.
You want to do the placeholder?
Just explain.
We use this placeholder because if you don't have something on your segment for the driver to log into, then they can't log in on their tablet. So we put this placeholder for micromove because we're not doing the 2-day in advance scheduling. We have 30 minutes, they can schedule within 30 minutes and get a ride. So sometimes our driver goes out and there's nothing to do until people wake up. So that's why we have a placeholder that just keeps the segment open. Archived trips are, why is it so slow? These are all the trips that that client has taken. These are crossed out because we canceled them, but you could go back and see where people have gone. Address management is where you would look to see if something's missing a geocode or if you have an address that you need to, that's not like a, how do we spell this? It's not a residence, it's like a medical facility. If you want to add all your medical facilities prior to a client requesting it, this is where you would add it in address management. Holidays. We had to put in all of our holidays ourselves. I'm sure if you ask them, they could probably do it for you, but it's not hard. You just go in here, you name the holiday, yeah, hit new, the date, the description, save. Holidays, if you put a holiday in, it will block that day so people can't schedule on it. This is segments. Oh, this one. So this is where you would segment manage your segments. That's silly. They preload you with like 50 something segments. I shut all of the segments they preloaded us with and made my own. You can go in like, so these are all the segments I have running today. The ones that are checked are the ones that are active. So Mike is out driving our micromove right now, and I'm training with you guys, but these are my other 2 drivers. And if they were driving, I would have them checked instead of Mike. And it will tell what vehicle they should be taking, what the funding source is, what time they start, what time they end, and what the route is for. Anybody have any questions on segments? All right, so this vertical pad right here is your dispatching screen. So there's two different ways you can look at it. You can look at it real time, or you can look at it through like the scheduling part. The scheduling part is always in the drops here. Real time is this button up here. So we'll start with the scheduling. Doesn't respond well. So this is the trip that I just made today. You can select individual segments, or you can select all segments. So I'm going to do the training segment and open that up. No. So these are all the trips that that segment has posted to it already. And then you can just drag and drop your new trip. Reverse. Hold on. You have to reverse calculate, always put them in order and then re-optimize so that it will drop it in correct order for the driver. If you don't do that, they're going to be all jumbled on the driver's tablet. So now, see, my trip is right there. This is the pickup for the trip, and this is them dropping me off. Any questions on that?
Is the optimization working well, Sarah? I know it's a limited trips at this point, just the micro move, but do you feel it's working well?
It works way better now that we got the bugs worked out of it.
Got it. Thank you.
I have a quick question on that. If you optimize it, but then still need to override and move one of those, can you do that?
Yep. So you would just click on the trip and you can just move it wherever you want.
Thank you.
That process that you just did, is it just ordering them based on the time, or is it actually looking at like the locations?
Both. So it'll look at the time that they requested, the time that you guys are promising, and where the address is located. So it tries to put it on a route. It actually tries to make a route to pick everybody up in one direction if possible.
And I guess it takes into account like vehicle load and, you
Yep.
know, the road, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so when you make your vehicles, you tell it how many seats it can hold and how many wheelchairs. And then it will look at that bus or car and say, oh, I can put these 4 people in that car.
Hey, Sarah.
Yes.
This is Ross and Dan. I'm curious, so far it's been a month in. How many users have signed up for this service to this date?
You know off the top of your head? Because I don't.
How many clients have signed up?
Yeah.
No idea, Ross. I know that we're doing, the most we've done is like 28 rides a day. But I can't tell you the number of users. That's in a report, I'm sure.
That's in a report.
Yeah.
When I saw it open up, it said something like 1 of 22. And I was thinking, oh, does that mean that you have 22 users? Do you have a goal of having 100 users in the first month? And just curious of the take up, you know, from the community.
We have a goal, Ross, of 40 to 50 rides a day come springtime, probably 3 months from launch. The number of users, I think, is going to be pretty small because we're only in one town and it's not a big population. So I think we're more goal orientated on the number of rides versus the number of clients, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't be looking at that too.
And it looks like a lot of these rides, you know, with the wheelchair and those types of pieces, you'd be providing those trips through the E&D program or the NEMT program as well. Yeah, just curious about this, getting tons of questions at the legislature and from a lot of committees. So I appreciate that.
Christine will give us the number of users when she goes over reports.
Yep, and it'll also, I can show you in the reports the trip purpose. So it's pretty interesting because you'll see How many medical, how many shopping, how many personal?
Right, I measure those every day, and we keep a log on that, so I know right what the destinations we're doing, so. Yeah, we'll cover that at the end.
Thank you.
I also forgot to go over this part right here. So these numbers are your vehicle numbers, so I can have 8 ambulatory people or 2 wheelchairs. This is how long the patient is gonna wait. This is how long the driver will wait. So see, the driver's gonna wait 2 minutes at some point during the day. But that's this is how you would schedule your trips. And then if you want to look at the real-time dispatching, so you can do all, or you can do whatever segment you want to look at. And then all your trips for the day would be down the side here. You also have places for messages, so you can talk to your drivers. You can also send out a mass message to everybody, or you can just select a driver and send a message that way. Oops, didn't mean to hit that one. One of the things I find really helpful about this is that you can see like live settings with drivers on that. So like this is our micromove out in Windsor. Right now, they're just sitting there. You can see how many miles an hour they're going, what time it is, all that kind of information. And if you want to see where they're sitting, and take the little guy and drop him. And so our bus is sitting at Price Chopper right now. It's obviously not like a live screenshot, it's just a Google map, but you'll be able to know where your bus is. So right now we have our messages sent, set at the driver can, they can message you like real words, not canned messages. They can like type out, and you can type wherever you want. When this goes, when there's a new message, you'll get a doorbell, like an old school doorbell sound. It's obnoxious.
I like it.
I don't. And I don't know if you can change the sound or the volume of it because it's very loud. Does anybody have questions on this screen? Okay. So now I'm going to show you guys the member portal. Randy has already signed in as a client. They would be able to put in the pickup address. What? I don't understand. Yeah, I know, but I don't understand the one. You can do arrive by or depart by, depending on how the client wants to get there. So if we do arrive by, they can do whatever time. And trip date for today. Additional information, they'd have to go and put in their funding source. Reason, a phone number if they would like close. They can make it a round trip. book trip.
This takes a bit.
It does.
This process right here just does take a little bit of time to wait while it says booking in progress, because the software has to find out and make sure that trip can fit into what the schedule is looking at right now. At least for my
Booking right into my phone. I'm booking right into my phone.
I know, but then you can show how you cancel it. That's what I did before.
Yeah.
But this shouldn't be as much of an issue if we're booking 2 days out, if a client's booking 2 days out.
Correct.
Right.
Versus, you know.
In the
it's
moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just had a question on how this relates to the smartphone app, Sarah.
Mhm. So we have the app.
So the two things, Tim, one is on our website, and I'll send everybody the link. There's a step-by-step process of how to book a ride on the phone app. You really have to download the app yourself and put yourself into a trip at Windsor to see how it goes. It's a little bit tricky setting up an account. We've had people say that it's difficult. It was difficult when I did it. But once you figure out how to do that, it's really pretty simple. And again, we can show you a blow by blow off our website if you want to look at it now, or I can give you the link and you can take a look at it. But it's very similar to this.
Okay, got it. But this is one of another option where they can just go in the portal, right, Randy, and they can do it this way, or they can do it through the app.
Correct.
Thank
Or they
you.
can call us. And
Or they can call.
And when they put this together for you, when HBSS puts this together for you, they do one for obviously for Android and one that's not. And there was a little time gap in between there, probably about a week between the time they got them both operating, but they're both a little tiny bit different. But again, they all work fine, and we've had people booking off them.
Yes.
And yeah, this works. But I think fewer people use the portal than probably use the phone, but most people call.
Most people call right now. I have 2 or 3 people that are using the app, but I don't have anybody using the web portal right now. But see, the trip was booked successfully, and those are your confirmation numbers for the trips, both legs of the trips. Yes.
Yep. That's right.
So then I just went into Randy's trips, and here's the trips that we just set up. They're active trips right now, and then you can cancel them here. And then it tells me it was canceled. Right now, we have it set up that if a client uses the web portal, it emails one person, which we're trying to get fixed, to let them know that there's a trip waiting to go look at the scheduling screen. Oh, I just canceled it. So
I know, but you'll
see
see it. You'll see it cancel because it's my thing.
You said that you're doing the half-hour option. Can you talk a little bit about your experience with actually doing a little bit more of a responsive scheduling?
So when they call in, we can schedule up right while we're on the phone with them. And when they use the app, it schedules right to the tablet, right to the driver. We don't have to do anything with it. But if they use the web portal, we have to.
Yes, we did it for 1 o'clock. You got it on the next page.
Oh, yeah, there's more pages.
Right there.
Here, so see, Randy's trip says canceled, so now it's off. What was I saying? The portal is the only thing that we have to go in and move into scheduling. It's not an automatic thing right now.
That's a bug, right?
That is a bug, and they're
That's
working
one
on
of the
it.
things we're working to fix. So in theory, when you book on the app and you book on the portal, the same thing's supposed to happen on both. The trip's supposed to automatically go to the tablet. When somebody calls in, they book the trip almost like you would for regular demand response software now, is they book the trip in, and then they take that trip and they assign it. So if they use the app or if they use the portal, it's supposed to automatically assign to the tablet. We're still working out the one bug that the portal's not auto assigning, but the app is.
Yeah.
So when the one bug gets worked out, the portal will do the same thing as the app. It automatically fills it into the right slot so that the driver sees it in the right order, so they know when to pick that person up. And they get a notification on the tablet that is different than the doorbell. It was a different sound.
Yeah, it's like a beep.
So they're aware that they just received a new trip.
If there is a scheduling conflict, will the user get a kickback of some sort, a notification that it's unavailable? They will, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll give them an option of choosing another time during the
Okay.
day.
Yeah.
Or they can book it for another day out.
Thank
But
you.
yes, they do, yep.
Thank you.
We also had the option to refer them to a taxi, I think, didn't we?
Well, if it's out of town, it doesn't, it just comes back and says.
Right, but if it's in town, you can build other modes of transportation and
I think you could.
refer them with other phone numbers to try to book something else if you can't get a trip.
Yeah, I think the app does. I don't know if the portal does.
Right, that was an option in the configuration.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since there wasn't anybody else there per se, we didn't use it. And again, the volume is still pretty minimal right now. I don't think we've had to move people around. I don't think the systems move people around per se that much.
We have like 1 or 2 in the afternoon that we have to ask somebody to move like 10 minutes. But because Windsor, you can get anywhere really quickly, it's only like 10 minutes right now. That we'll have to ask people to accommodate for.
Caleb, did we answer your question?
You did. That's very informational. I know we were looking at needing 24-hour notice, but it seems very appealing to be able to offer people to be able to book 30 minutes out.
It can be. I don't know how I feel about it right now for like Medicaid purposes, but the more we grow with it, the easier it is.
I don't think we'd want to start with 30 minutes with Medicaid. I think we'd want to start with 48, see what happens. I think that's probably a group, obviously that's a group decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So verifications in this is called trip recon, which Christine thinks is too military, but that's beside. So these are all the days that we've gone out so far. And then you go in and you have to do them for each segment. Since we only have micromoon right now, you would go in. This is the driver from yesterday. And these are all the trips that we did yesterday. And just making sure everything looks kind of okay. I like the way that they do verifications a lot better than the way Route Match does them right now. Because it's going to tell you if something is wrong. So you hit validate. Out there. So then these are all the things it wants you to check. For whatever reason, I've noticed that the first and last mileages, it always wants you to check it. So it's asking you to go here. And it's normally right, it just wants you to double check. First client pickup, same time. First client odometer, same. And then it wants me to check the bottom. These colors are just because it's not happy that it's not a mile difference, but Windsor's so small that it's not always a mile between the pickup and drop off. Yellow is the person canceled their appointment or the trip got canceled. Those are the same. So everything is correct. It just wanted me to double check it, and then you save and finalize. I don't know why it doesn't like that, but as long as these are green, then you're all set. Any questions on the verifications?
Have you had any no-shows yet? And is there a protocol set up for no-shows?
We've had no shows on micro, but there's no repercussions right now for that. So yes and no. Yeah, they would just be yellow. So see, this one was canceled on arrival. You can also change them here from, see, like a no-show and all that.
I think, Mary Claire, the volume is so small and we're still so new at it that we're not having the issues that could come to this. So we're gonna track it. We've heard about GMT's issues with school kids in Montpelier, so we're sensitive to that, but we just, it's too small and too soon yet to figure that out. But we will set up protocols when the time comes.
Yeah, I think we've only had one no-show so far.
That's good. So I know it's early on in the process, but Sarah, what's your take on the tech support and customer service? Do you have a direct point of contact, or do you go right through the website to request tech support?
So right now I have a direct point of contact, and
Okay.
she's amazing. And she came up for what,
Two or three days in our
2 or 3
launch.
days.
Yeah,
She's
nice.
She is amazing, so helpful. I have her cell phone and I can just text her when I have problems, and she texts me back within like 5 minutes. Even if she can't help me right then and there, she's like, I've seen this text, I will call you as soon as I get a minute. This right here is what will be, it's not live yet, but will be our tech support.
So we haven't signed off on the contract yet, Tim, and we're still in basically the implementation phase.
Yeah, that's what I knew that.
We haven't been turned over to tech support yet, but I can tell you that the couple of times when we had issues, I sent an email up the ladder a little bit, and I had I forgot his name.
Yeah. The
HB?
Yeah, from HBSS. I had the CEO calling me at home 3 nights in a row.
No, his name is HB.
HB? He just called me and said, is this okay? Is this okay? You know, what else can I do? And it was amazing that the CEO of the company is calling me at home.
Yes, he's very hands-on. I got to talk to him when we were at dinner.
Was that Himanshu? Was that Himanshu, Randy?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was, okay. Yeah,
It was
nice.
incredible. He wanted our business. He wanted the Vermont contract, and everybody that we've talked to or asked or texted. We have weekly meetings. We still have weekly meetings to go over things. They've been very responsive.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to show some reports. You can see the 3 verticals. There's administrative reports, billing reports, daily operational reports. And then if you go over here, there's more operational reports. Oh, sorry. And statistical reports. I've played around in this quite a bit. Some of it really is almost not useful at this time for this particular route, just because it's only one small route, but it's got some interesting data that you can find. I will say that Randy and I were talking this morning about the on-time performance report, and that is one report we're going to talk to them about, because it seems like there's some matrix in there that might be affecting that report, because it's different than the driver productivity report. We did have them add ad hoc reports in administrative reports, very similar to, I think, Route Match. You can kind of build reports based on criteria. Let's see. Why is that letting me do it?
Let's select a report.
I am. She's right. It's just really slow. And then you can build your report based on all of these items, and obviously the arrows are pretty self-explanatory. You pick an address, you pick a name, and so forth, and you can build it from there. And you just kind of follow along with the next. You can adjust your columns and so forth. I haven't played in this as much, just because what we need right now is really being generated in the canned reports. But this is this does allow, like, if you need a specific information about specific clients or specific vehicles or specific drivers, and you really kind of need to get down into it, you can.
These are like ad hoc reports, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah,
And anything that is, if you have a vertical list right here,
yeah,
and you're looking for something that you're like, where did those ad hoc reports go? There's generally, if there's a live button within a vertical list, it's going to be up on top. So see, this is a live button up here.
okay.
The first one I'll show you really quickly is, where's my trip?
Right there, at the bottom, right?
Yeah. So the trip purpose report, it's pretty simple. You can do a week, you can do a day. I'll just do last Friday. I usually do all purpose because I want to see all the different trips. And then as it populates, it shows you right down here, your employment, medical, personal, shopping, and your total trips for the day. What's nice about this particular software that I found a little more difficult with RouteMatch was you can download this in all these different options. You can also save it to a window in all these different options. So if you really wanted to download all this data in an Excel file and sit there and manipulate it and really work it out, you can. And again, this report can be populated for a week. It could be populated by funding source. It could be populated by so many different pieces that it really kind of allows a lot of information. Funding source there, a duplicated clients by funding source. And I think this might be the question that Ross was actually asking, right?
And this is a lot easier than the crystal reports in RouteMatch, isn't it, Christine?
So yeah, so much easier.
Yeah,
Pretty self-explanatory. It walks you right through it. It's not hard.
yeah.
So Ross, to your question, this is an unduplicated client trips for one day. And if I read this correctly, it's 9 unduplicated clients, right? 1, 2, 3, yeah. Right?
Yeah, and you can go back to
Right, so you can,
up above and just key in January 23rd is the first date.
right,
And then we can get Ross's number.
I want to fix it to the 28th.
28th.
No, bottom one.
Oh, you mean today? There's 10 pages.
All right, so we'll get to that number.
We'll get to that number. So this is a
If you
prime
go to the-
example. If you download it in Excel, you could total it.
If you go to the 10th page, it probably has a summary number.
There you go. 208.
It's pretty good
Yeah,
for that little town.
yeah.
It's really good.
So really I mean, obviously when we have this on a bigger scale for all the NEMT and Medicaid trips, you're going to be able to do it by city. You're going to be able to do it by mobility type. You're going to be able to do it by day, week. So you can really get a lot of data out of this. Pretty simple. It's pretty simple. It's pretty fast and it's pretty simple. The driver productivity report is one we use quite a bit. Our payroll person uses this to help her out. This will show you the driver's name, the hours of performed work, the number of trips performed by that particular day. Then this is where I was talking about the on-time performance, pickups, drop-offs, 1 drop-off performed late. If I understand correctly, because I think this is going to be a question people ask, because I know that Medicaid asks those questions about performed late. I'm pretty sure that we can customize in the back what late is, yes? Yeah, so we can tell it, you know how in Medicaid you have the window of pickup and drop-off times. You can customize in the back side of this report to tell it what is considered a late pickup or drop-off. So you can generate this report a little bit easier than you can through RouteMatch right now to figure out where you are in the parameters of the matrix. You could do segment productivity, which is basically your run. I don't know if this is much different than driver productivity. Yeah, it's pretty close to, this is pretty close to driver productivity as well, but it also adds your miles and so forth. So if we go over to. So there's client details that you can look up. There's possible bad addresses. When I play with this, I have not found any yet. So I'm not sure, Sarah, if you've ever had any bad addresses, and I think this is where you'd be addressing a geocode issue if you had a bad address.
Yep.
But I haven't been able to see what that looks like in live because we haven't had any yet. So this one is called funding source totals. This is where you'd be able to pick different funding sources. Obviously, ours is all because we only have micromove in there. But you can change it by operators and so forth too. So the same thing, it's gonna, again, these reports are very minimal only because we're only doing the micromove in this right now, but you'll see that you can kind of get a little bit more. You can see how many wheelchair trips, how many ambulatory trips, if you had extra riders, if you had extra stops. So this is where you kind of get into your total billed passengers. This is where you kind of get into your canceled trips, no shows. This is some of the information you would need to generate for Medicaid billing.
Can you go up to the top again, please, Christine? On the funding sources, we were thinking about adding elderly and disabled and Medicaid and VA and the job access grants. And in this particular situation, this is open to everybody. There's no qualifications for it. So this is very bland when it comes to funding source, but we did early on in the configurations, considering adding all the rest of those, and that's what we'll all be doing when we use the statewide software. And you can also build that into the app and the portal in that if you have a Medicaid client, they have to pick a funding source. They have to tell you what they are. If they do it wrong or if they something's entered improperly, we'll have to figure that out as a group as to how the system's going to catch that and how we're going to make sure that all the clients are captured under the right funding source. But again, the fact that you don't see it here doesn't mean it's not part of the system.
Does anybody want to see a particular, does anybody see anything on here that they want to see a particular report? It's pretty self-explanatory. They're pretty easy. I find them much easier than Route Match. They're pretty responsive, and I have pulled down a couple reports in Excel just to test it and make sure that they come down right, and they do, so that you're able to manipulate them in any way, shape, or form you want.
What about the paper manifest? Is that easier than Route Match? I know how much it wasn't very user friendly with the Route Match from what I heard from a lot of the users. So I was just curious.
You don't print from the manifest this way. They are, sorry, we started, is it this one? With paper manifest because we were having issues with the tablets when we started. Hold on, I just gotta remember how to get back.
But it's easier than Route Match though, Sarah, huh? Gotta be
easier. Right here. So you would select your driver. It pulls the thing, manifests
Nice.
for selected routes. And then this is how a printed paper manifest would print.
Nice. Very nice.
So you still capture all of the information that you would right now. It's just in this format instead of Route Match, which is like here, there, everywhere.
Got it.
It's just like a one straight shot for it.
Beautiful.
And it's super easy to print from here.
A note on the tablets, they were late in delivering the 2 tablets that we ordered through our grant. And Sarah just plugged in the software to existing tablets and they work fine. And I don't know how that relates to the contract, but do we need to get all new tablets? Not sure, but the ones we're using, the existing ones, are performing just fine with the software.
Yeah, we're definitely looking to purchase And I know that Angela at TBT has been working on that, but we're definitely looking to purchase, backup tablets for you folks. So if something breaks down, that you have adequate backup.
So I
What's-
will say one thing really quickly, Tim, about the tablets is, we have 2 new ones that we got from them, and one of them has ceased to work.
Yes.
Like literally just happened yesterday, so we'll talk to them about that, but what I would,
They configured them, Christine? Or
no,
did
it just,
No,
it just-
I did.
she,
Sarah did?
yeah,
Okay.
they walked Sarah through.
It's
it wa-
really easy.
Yeah,
Okay,
It's a website you download and then they give you a login and then that's it. It's really easy.
got it.
Hey, Christine,
Yeah.
and Sarah, Randy, thank you so much for doing this. And just one question, how long did it take, or how long would it take if you had everything you needed to, kind of get through the fit up or the training process to get to this point? What was it, 5 weeks, 9 weeks, 3?
We started in early November. And we got everything done like the Friday before January. So I would say that was the better part of 3 months.
Yep.
And it was just a pretty simple application, but all the steps we went through, I think we're all gonna have to go through anyway. So we just configured it differently, but it was 3 months, Ross.
Okay.
it was, in the beginning, it's a lot of stuff on their end that they have to build. So you do a lot, you do a meeting and you tell them what you want. They send you a lot of Excel spreadsheets about, what configurations you want. And then you meet again in a week and you confirm them. So the first couple of months was really just repeat questions and making sure we were on the same page. The last 2 weeks was, I will be honest, the last week before was a little stressful. We were out in the field every day trying to get bugs worked out, and we had 4 or 5 backup plans to go live, but it all worked out great because I will say their customer service response was amazing. Just like Randy said, they were on it because they knew our date that we wanted to start and they got it done for us to be able to start and use their software. So as stressful as it was that last few days, because their customer service was so great, it went off without a hitch. So it did take some time, but they are very responsive.
Awesome, thank you.
What have you heard from the drivers about using the tablet software? Are they happy with it?
The tablets are very similar to what they're doing now in Route Match. They said that there's not much difference in it. You can put DVIRs on the tablets, which is interesting. We're not right now, but that was the only thing that they noticed that was different, other than the bug where everything wasn't going in order, but now that's fine.
So Sarah, do they lock out once the vehicle gets to a certain speed?
No, not
They
right now.
don't.
That can be an option. It's just not what we have right now. There's a button the driver can push and then unpush it when they're driving, but they don't right now.
Okay.
Sarah, are there any turn-by-turn directions? And are those verbal?
Yes, it links right out to Google Maps and it would do exactly what your phone would do.
I will tell you that when I did the field testing, I was probably a good field tester because I am not a demand response driver that could use a tablet before. So I was a good test pilot for like if somebody walked in there and never used it before. And after like 2 or 3 stops, I figured it out and it was pretty simple. What I think I like a little bit better with this one is when they put the placeholder in. You have a placeholder in there for a break. It's easier than, if I understand correctly, than Route Match right now, where you have to hit break and log out and log in, and there's less steps involved, so there's less driver error involved that you have to verify. So I do like that piece, but that's from an administrative point when we're dealing with payroll and trying to clean all that up in the next day. So that's just my take on it.
I have a video of the tablet if you guys want me to send that out. It's for volunteers, but it's exactly the same as what your drivers would see.
I would love.
Great.
Great, thank you. And on the portal, Randy, you had mentioned that it's a little tough to sign up initially. Did they say anything? Like, are they gonna make any adjustments to that process for this creating an account, or what have you heard from them?
Yeah, I don't think so, Adams. I think that's their product.
Mhm.
And I don't think they're gonna change that for us. That doesn't mean we shouldn't ask.
Yeah.
But you can go on today on your phone and just download the Q-Ride app
Mhm.
and pretend you're in Seattle or in Windsor and fill out some information and try that. Please don't book a trip in Windsor. If you book a trip someplace, obviously you need to cancel it. But you can see how that works. And it's just, you have to register, and then you got to back out just so. You got to remember a certain code that only appears once. It's just a little bit tricky. And again, I'm going to send the web addresses to the how-to video that we have for it, and that they helped us create, so you can see it. But I don't think they're going to change it. I think that's their product.
Sure. Okay, one last question for me. During the implementation, did they give you like a test environment, or they're building like the live database? Like when you mentioned the kind of back and forth meetings, like do you have a test environment for training and that kind of stuff?
Yes, we had a great test environment. We were all given passwords. We were all allowed to book rides and book trips and test virtually the whole thing, right down to the reports, the tablets. Yeah, that was really wonderful. And when we went to go live, we pretty much, did we merge from the test site right into go live?
No, we opted to have a clean slate.
So we went back into the software then. So what happened was, when we went live, we were only live to ourselves. We weren't live to the public. So, and we wanted that for 2 weeks before before our start date. So we were able to do that. So we tested on a separate platform. Then we went into our database. Sarah loaded the clients that we had manually, because there weren't that many of them. And then we kind of go live for 2 weeks before we went live.
Yeah, we went live for 2 weeks too, so that if people started to call about it, because we had people starting to call early, if they wanted to call about it and book a reoccurring trip for, after we started the service, dispatchers were able to go into the live site and do that. So that was another reason why we did that. So besides Sarah and them trying to migrate some trips over, this was also helpful for them to be able to call in. We did actually have a couple people that were calling in ahead of our live date, so because they were really excited about it. So that's helpful for our internal. Plus, they got to kind of really be on the platform and see it without the other people booking on it first.
Great.
To Ross's question a minute ago, we found that this company has tech support people all over the world. And I got to talk to Joe from Michigan and Kyle from Taiwan, or what, I don't know what it was. But you would put in a request at 5 o'clock on Friday night, and you get a response on Saturday morning. I don't know if it's going to be that way here, but we were just a little $40,000 contract with these people. And again, the thought was they just did a great job on the service end. And I hope that when the implementation plan gets ferreted out a little bit more, that clearly with 3 months, hopefully that'll be a little bit less, and that they'll be able to do several of us at a time. We'll have to wait and see.
I have a question of overall just workload and feedback from scheduling. Is there any feedback? Is it a lot for them? Was the transition easy for them?
So I'm the only one that's doing scheduling right now, and it pretty much schedules itself, especially when you only have one bus. It's really easy and straightforward. I can't wait to see more buses and how that will work. But right now, the scheduling for trips is really easy, especially if they're using the app and it goes automatically to that run.
Great.
Oh, there's something in the chat. Any other questions?
Everybody was great to attend and ask good questions. I hope this was helpful. And again, we'll send a web link to some of the things we're talking about in Sarah's video, and Mover.com, if you go under routes and into Windsor Microtransit, you'll see all the things that we've done and the different software approaches and a lot of other background data if you're so inclined. But thanks for everybody's interest and support today.
Thank you, Randy. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Randy.
Yeah, I really appreciate the demonstration.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody. So you can stop for.
How do I do that?
The screen. There you go.
And then end.
Yep.